included in the presentation address activities, events, or developments that the company believes or anticipates will or may occur in the future are forward-looking statements. Such forward-looking statements involve known and unknown risks, uncertainties, and other factors which may cause the actual results, performance, or achievements of the company to be materially different from any future results, performance, or achievements expressed or implied by such forward-looking statements. Such factors include general economic and business conditions, the ability to acquire and develop specific projects, the ability to fund operations, healthcare service demands, changes in healthcare practices, government regulation, and other factors which the company has little or no control. The company does not intend and is not obligated to update publicly any forward-looking statements. The contents of this presentation shall be considered in conjunction with the warnings and cautionary statements contained in the company's recent filings with the SEC. At this time now, I would like to introduce Dr. William Donovan, the CEO of Spine and Pain Management.
Welcome to our 2014 year-end conference call. With me today, I have John Bergeron, CFO, David Spencer, President of Halo, Tommy Cooper, Founder, Cooper Consulting Services. Before we get into the 2014 financial numbers, I have several comments outlined on the slide in front of you. As a practicing physician, I've seen a lot of changes that's been accelerated in 2014. Medicine is under attack. Reimbursement is down due to the Affordable Care Act. Hospitals have increased competition from physician-owned outpatient surgery centers. Regulation is out of control. Hospitals are looking for quality assurance tools to gain market share, increase reimbursement, and defend against liability claims. As an example for hospitals, the OB/GYN area in a hospital is a prime area for risk management systems with a video-based system. Over the next 5 years, the government has indicated to hospitals that they need to convert to a video-based risk management system, especially for OB/GYN. Transparency is a tool that will allow hospitals to cope with the issues that I listed above. In addition, there's telemedicine, both domestic and international. Population growth has created a need for telemedicine, training, quality assurance, exchange of information. I believe 2014 was a transitional year. For shareholders, the takeaway is that the business model works. After shutting down Florida and South Texas, the questions are there new markets that offer similar growth revenue opportunities without the fundamental challenges seen in Florida? The answer is yes. Are we still able to collect monies even if we are no longer working in a market? The answer is yes. Next slide. Our mission and the current state, we're a financial services, medical technology, healthcare solution provider with licensing, management, marketing, billing, financial services. We have successfully developed a high-resolution tool with proprietary high-resolution 4-camera view video system comprised of hardware, firmware, and software branded QBH. Due to accelerating demand from both medical and legal community for better transparency, our team has made major changes and upgrades to our native system, which now open the potential for QBH far beyond our own internal use. And risk management with hospital is a high growth area. The QBH is the centerpiece of our new video management system that we have developed through our subsidiary. Final certifications and deliveries of a patent in QBH to third-party purchases is expected in Q2 2015. Next slide. Here is a snapshot of spine pain management. Shareholder equity is 24 cents per share. Positive working capital ratio of 4.2 to 1. NOL 7.4 million through 2034. Gross cases funded waiting to settle. These are cases that have already been treated, 11.5 million. Inside ownership is 46%. Our market capitalization is 25 cents a share, approximately 700 shareholders. At this point, I'm going to turn over the financial numbers to John Bergeron, our CFO.
Thank you, Dr. Donovan. The earnings numbers are not what we had hoped for the year. Spin had a transformation in 2014 characterized by two major events: exiting certain markets and the decision to fully upgrade, develop, and market our Quad Video Halo. The reduction in numbers of affiliates created downward pressure on our revenue as compared to the previous year, as revenue was down 38%. However, we did add one additional affiliate in 2014 in Odessa, which brought in 15% of the total revenue, and the future there looks promising. If you look at the cost of sales rose a bit in 2014 due to the sales mix. The sales mix in 2014 had MRIs in it, which are more expensive to administer than just plain injections. The sales mix was different. 2013 did not have any MRIs in it. The second major paradigm shift was the decision to update and bring the Quad Video Halo to market. We hired consultants who redesigned the equipment to be smaller and cheaper to manufacture. We leased a warehouse to assemble and design the product, purchased tooling, computers, and hired additional marketing personnel. We attended many trade shows where the interest in the Quad Video Halo was reaffirmed. Overall, we spent $405,000 in expenditures on the Quad Video Halo in 2014. This is the main reason for the 10% increase in the SG&A expense. You notice the interest expense is down mainly due to the decreased interest we paid in the restructuring of the debt by our shareholder, coupled with there was less expensing of warrants this year than in the prior year. Overall, it's important to remember that of all these expenses, $815,000 were non-cash charges compared to $1.2 million last year. We change the slide, please. When comparing balance sheets for years that ended in 2014 and 2013, a couple things need to be noted. The current portion percentage of the AR went down this year due to the formula the auditors use in determining the number. They take the percentage of collections we receive for services that are 1 year or less in age and compare it to the total collections. We collected over $1.1 million in the last quarter, which were mainly over 1 year old, that drove that percentage down. In conventional accounting, the current AR number is what you expect to receive in 12 months. We certainly expect to receive much more than $1.3 million in collections in 2015. the number listed is the amount of the total balance as of 12/31/14. That's what we expect to collect. It doesn't include the 2015 collections. The current portion of the notes payable is $350,000. We just paid $300,000 to TriMed, and we have extinguished that debt. And we anticipate paying the other $50,000 note in June to an outside investor. Finally, we issued stock to our investor who restructured his note on very favorable terms to the company and to the consultants who helped us with various matters throughout the year. And now I'd like to turn it back to Dr. Donovan.
Next slide. What we do here, we're showing the procedures and cases. Through 12/31/14, we've done over 7,200 procedures on over 4,100 patients. Next slide. On the collections, from 2013 to 2014, we went from $8 million to $11 million that have been collected since the beginning. In Q4 2014, we collected $1,129,000 on 161 cases. There are still 2,414 cases still open. From the beginning in 2009, out of 1,700 cases settled, there were 110 cases where we ended up with no collections. The 110 cases actually deal with the 4,000 out of 4,000 patients. That resulted in a cash loss of $290,000. Next slide. In 2014, I just want to touch on some of the major developments. We closed down operations in Florida and in South Texas. Comparing 2014 with 2013, that was the decline of 37%. If we compare 2014 to 2012, it was a decrease of about 48%. We were fortunate to receive a line of credit from Wells Fargo Bank facilitated by one of our directors and one of the largest shareholders. And we're paying 2.16% on the $2 million facility. At the end of 2014, we have $1.5 million still available on that line of credit. We use $500,000 of that credit to pay this investor, and he reduced the loan percentage from 12% to 6%. Proceeds of the facility are used for company development. Next slide. From the video standpoint, some of our major developments are, and we've been approached by hospitals, doctors, clinics, and attorneys that required updates and expansion of the Halo services, and so forth. We decided in 2014 to put the Quad Video Halo in a subsidiary and appointed David Spencer to the position of president of the subsidiary. We have also contracted with Cooper Consulting Services, a well-respected firm in the Houston area that for years has been specializing in assisting companies in the development and certification of medical devices. Tommy Cooper is on this line at this time. And lastly, we feel the Quad Video Halo patent is in its final stages of approval by the United States Patent Office. An announcement will be made upon receipt by the company of any final documents. Can we now go to slide 17? And I'm going to have David Spencer now talk about the video, and we'll also have any input from Tommy Cooper. David?
Good afternoon, everybody. Since we last talked 6 months ago, we've had some major developments in not only in the market, but also technology advances as well that we'd like to share in this presentation. So I'd like to go on ahead and go forth with that. If we can go to the next slide, please. A couple of things I want to go over is the overview of what the Quad Video Halo is and what we've done to bring it up to speed based off of what we've identified in the market as key indicators of what not only litigation is looking for, but also healthcare as well. The next item we'll cover is the system updates. Obviously, by going out there and implementing this into the market, we do have a facility that we successfully remotely deployed a Quad Video Halo, and we are managing it from Houston. Has given us a really good pilot program in a sense to be able to identify even more features to bring into the Quad Video Halo as it's producing revenue. Also, we looked at it from a marketing standpoint. We needed to do a Halo rebrand, and then I'd also like to follow up with talking about what, where we've gone in the market with the Quad Video Halo so far. So next slide, please. So the Quad Video Halo is a system that it's a video management system that brings in dynamic inputs not only from a video documentation standpoint, but also bringing in medical devices to paint the litigation picture and also give a very clear understanding of procedures that are taking place out there in the medical field. Identifying that, we've had to create functionality with reducing bandwidth cost and bringing in high-risk cameras that can be retrofitted in the operating room and also at the clinical level. And with that being said, in the identifying key factors that we found out in the market was we needed cross-platform integration. And what that enables us to do is to communicate with other devices, not just with bringing in cameras, but you're giving a doctor, a litigator, risk management, and all the parameters, all the players in the medical field, a dashboard view of what's going on with that patient or procedure at the time. With remotely deploying and bringing costs down and administration, we had to introduce reliability, and that's where at the site and also at our warehouse we have built-in redundancy systems to facilitate this, to give us heads up whenever cameras fall out and any system alarms. Instead of being in a reactive mode, we're able to handle situations right there on demand. That leads into simplified IT administration. We don't have to have a huge staff to facilitate this by having all these kind of alarm systems in. And then that brings us to the video features. By bringing all those three mentioned above items together, that gives us the ability to customize what the doctor's looking for. It creates a portal that gives him the information that he needs to make decisions quickly on the fly. And as we addressed as well, the more systems that we put out there, the better we're going to make this system. Next slide, please. So the big things to make those items, those key identifier features that I talked about on the previous slide happen, we had to bring in remote monitoring, which I talked about, and using Microsoft back office suite that is HIPAA and PIP compliant, using SharePoint integration, that gives us the ability to get in and look at how the system's doing. And the modifications as well, that's where Tommy Cooper has been invaluable with just giving us really, really sound advice and design recommendations on to keep this UL compliant, and with further development into medical devices that we plan to expand into the market of. Tommy, if you want to maybe talk a few minutes about your involvement with the Quad Video Halo and the wonderful things you've done with us.
Yeah, sure, David. Thanks. Well, David contacted me and got me involved in the program, and my background is the design and development of medical devices. I've been doing that for now almost 30 years with as an independent consultant. So we worked with David, and David directed our efforts in terms of some design features. So I brought in a industrial designer. His name's Stephen Umbach, and he's very skilled and capable, and so he's brought in that designer's touch to the system. And we brought in our documentation systems and our engineering skills, and one of the things we had to do was, even though we went through an analysis and determined that the system was not truly a medical device because it just is there for documentation purposes for insurance and other reasons, it doesn't get into the direct diagnostic part of the process for the doctor. So it's just a documentation system. But it still has elements that are in the patient vicinity. So we needed to have it where it would meet electrical safety and other standards that are involved with medical devices. So we put in design features that had isolation and so forth that will then allow it to meet those. And I'm setting up with the test houses to get those certifications and testing done. Now, David had also indicated that he has gotten a lot of interest from foreign markets. So we are also going to have that testing done and be able to get a CE certification so that this unit will be able to be sold overseas. So at this point, we've moved the system quite a ways along. We've got it under what we call configuration control, where we put all this information into a database. And once we get the testing done, then we'll release all this and have it where we're in production. And we are in the process of making a number of units right now, and things are going, I think, really well. David?
Fantastic. Thank you, Tommy. And then also, finally, the Halo app, we are still finishing the development on that. We are piloting that with our Midland location to enable us to be able to live stream, look at video archives, bringing in more medical devices at the neuro level to register pain, and also EKG and other pertinent medical devices that need to be brought into the dashboard. So the Halo app will give us the ability to integrate all that in as well, and with SharePoint obviously being the backbone. Moving on to the next slide, please. And in the 6-month progress that we have in working with Tommy, like I mentioned earlier, we have designed a new medical cart. We've upgraded components inside of the cart itself. That includes our heartbeat system, the 1080p PoE cameras, and the new Halo ring are all new things that will be submitted to UL. And as Tommy stated, the ones that are current new systems will have, we have new carts that are coming out, so we can put those out in the field immediately. That should be happening fairly quick. Next slide, please. This will give you just a quick look at where we've gone in 6 months from the past system to the present system that's actually deployed out in Midland, and then obviously number 3 is our new system that Stephen and Tommy and I have worked on extensively to get that to meet our standards and to get to be able to go out in the market with it. Next slide, please. So by looking at from the approach of what attorneys want and what doctors want, we've implemented some new things. And one of the things, whenever the video, a patient is consenting on the video, they show their driver's license and also the drugs that are being administered at the time during the injections. And we kind of came up with the barcode scanner to actually register that in with the video feed to further bulletproof the case so there isn't any tampering in that development. So you can see in this slide it's showing the scanner and what its features and what it's able to do in the new design from a side view as well. Next slide, please. The new Halo arm is the new band is an unbelievable looking product. It's extremely sexy, and we have just done a phenomenal job with trying to cover all the bases from surgical LED lighting that actually beams down onto the patient's table. That not only gives us better recording quality from the cameras because we're introducing more light in the area, but it's also, the surgeons love it. They love to talk about being able to see, over and not have to rely on the halogen lights up above them, in the ceiling. We put a system status light indicator so everybody will always know that's in the room if the Halo is recording, if it's on or not, and that will change from a blue state to a red during recording. They can also power it on and off right there on the band, and then also be able to take still pictures. So if they're in a procedure and something right off the bat that they want to grab real quick, they'll have the video, but they also can use the still capture frame as well. The next thing that we, next slide please, the next thing that we focused on was that we needed to have a better way to manage the cabling with the armature and also with mounting these things, and working with Tommy, we've come up with this very slick way to adapt these cameras to the Halo ring itself. And if you'll notice the white area, that's huge in a sense because there's network cable running through there. In prior versions, you didn't have that ability to rotate around on all axes, but it doesn't bind the cable, so that ensures that we're going to have 100% reliability from our camera feeds to make sure that we're recording properly at all times. Next slide, please. The next thing that we wanted to focus on was the components cabinet, and the design has come out beautiful for it with studying temperature and staying within UL tolerance, and also having further expandability into the cabinet whenever new things are introduced. This is an illustration of some of the things that we've covered that meet the standards and also give us better ability to upgrade without having to reinvent the wheel per se. Next slide, please. This is the look of the Halo app. That will be available in the Apple Store. We're going through revisions right now and finishing up the final development on it. And this actually talks back to the SharePoint server that we had talked about a while back ago. And if you're a litigator or you're a doctor and you want to reach something on demand, or you want to interact with the doctor from a co-location, this gives you the ability to do that while you're on the fly. It works over cellular signal, Wi-Fi, and it brings all those feeds in. So not just from a live streaming standpoint, maybe a teaching hospital could benefit from this, or multiple locations can collaborate together. Medical students can use it to go back and study procedures that maybe took place in the lab that day when they're studying in the library or whatnot. The vitals will be streamed live, real time, and you obviously have the archiving that they can go back and look at multiple procedures that are related to the patient, and then also the medical information as well is on there. And this is also all secured with PIP and HIPAA and fingerprint recognition and things of that to ensure data integrity. Next slide, please. Okay, go ahead, Bill.
What we have here is an actual injection. The left upper quadrant, you see the X-ray with the needle in place. The two bottom views, you'll see the needle in the center, and then we have our wide-angle view showing the doctor, and he has a catheter, and with that catheter he's putting in some dye going into the needle, and then it shows up on the x-ray. So we have 4 views on real time on the panel.
And the other important aspect of that is that we upgraded the audio as well, and that is getting the patient's acknowledgement and the pain level. And we'll have those videos out there on our new upcoming website for you to take a look at soon. Focusing more into the marketing side of it, we wanted to reduce cost on where we were going with shipping and things like that with the trade show, and we wanted to update our system, how we're just bring costs down. And as you can see in number 3, we've got you can see the new look and feel of the Halo trade show booth, which we went out to AAJ recently and got huge praises for our site, our trade show. The other thing, we rebranded the logo, and the much anticipated website's going to be up really soon. We've finished a large majority of it. We just got a few bells and whistles to clean up on it. We're ready to go. The next thing that we've done for marketing is that when these videos are exported, we give the ability to burn them to CD, but also having these encrypted memory sticks, that gives litigators and doctors the ability to put them on the, most computers and laptops nowadays don't have CD-ROM drive, so we had to, we had to make an adjustment for that, and that's how we came up with the memory stick for recording the procedures. Next, please. So this is kind of what we've done in the last 6 months. We found that Massport is a huge market for us. We have our very first scheduled hip revision surgery that will take place fairly quickly, and we feel that this is a huge market in litigation for them to show hip revisions and the diagnostic side and the patient follow-up as well. So it's a great litigation tool. Also, we are currently working with a hospital, and we are implementing a pilot program to get the Halo into their system for our first video integrated OR. The next thing that I briefly touched about, if you can go back to that last slide, please. The next thing on the pain management side, like I previously talked about, we successfully deployed in Midland a Halo system that is remotely managed from Houston, so it's great. The next thing that ties in with the CE mark and things of that nature, we have a specialty physician that wants to monitor his practice from Houston that he has in Dubai, and doing range of motion and diagnosing remotely and talking back with the doctors and things like that. So these are 4 huge areas that are only just going to grow for us at this point, but we had to get out there and get traction. And these are very exciting things, and we'll continue with pushing forth in the market and see what else we can apply the Halo to, because it's a big world out there, and I think we're going to be able to conquer it. And I guess I'll pass it back over to Bill right now.
Could we go to slide 16?
Sorry, that's not it.
Next one. We go from, no, back up 3. We go from the exciting things that David and his team are putting together, and we'll talk about cash flow potential. Since inception, the average case has settled for almost $6,500, and we have over 2,400 cases that have already been pre-funded. To date, we've collected a little over $11 million from 1,700 cases, and we failed on 110 cases. There's clear evidence of strong cash flow with the core business model, and we want to use Halo to help make the core business model better. Next slide. Our future value that we feel is we leverage the quad video halo technology with hospitals, with doctors, with clinics, in the legal profession, both sides, plaintiff and defense, expert testimony. We're going to start implementing the QVH with some expert technology and examinations for both sides. We feel that we're getting close to the development where we can then start selling this product, either sales or lease. We feel there's a recurrent revenue stream, and we're waiting for billing to be settled. And the billing department has done a wonderful job. And of interest, even in areas where we're not doing work, we're still collecting. Next slide. What we want to do is pursue new revenues. Risk management is going to be very high on our list with hospitals, especially with hospitals in the OB-GYN area. That's an area where there's a very high risk, and the government is coming down with some new regulations requiring video risk management services in hospitals. And we're dealing with 3 hospitals right now that are looking at this very seriously, and David is meeting with them very soon. We also are looking at new doctor affiliates, and we're also looking at corporate-owned halo clinics in very specific states where there's no problem in corporate practice in medicine. And we want to improve the cash flow and using the new generation of remotely monitored QVH. We have a doctor in Houston who's in a very, very specialized field who happens to have a clinic in Dubai where he teaches certain types of very specific surgery. I feel that we're negotiating with this doctor, and boy, it'll save him a lot of frequent flyer miles where he can monitor from Houston with work that's being done in Dubai, and he's being approached with this very specialized type of surgery in other parts of the world. He can't be everywhere, and his wife is saying, you can't be everywhere. We all hear that. And then obviously we want to get started in Q2 of some QVH sales. So I think, next slide, we just want to remember these areas that I first alluded to, that medicine's under attack. We can help hospitals, we can help doctors. Transparency is going to help us. The population growth has created a need for telemedicine, transparency, and then utilizing the halo in these areas that we're talking about. Next slide. We'll go off now. We've seen this with what David has said, and let's open it up to questions. We appreciate everyone taking time. And are there any questions? And we'll go ahead and answer them.
What differentiates the Halo product from existing products from Stryker and Perkins? Mike Andrews.
The Stryker product, the one they have a single video camera that's actually in the handpiece on the overhead light. I'm going to have David talk about it. How is Halo separate from Stryker and Perkins?
One of the, from the capture standpoint of we're taking more feeds in from medical devices that create the dashboard. dashboard. So what separates us from Stryker is that they are a closed system. It's proprietary, and we're opening up to anybody and everybody that wants to get on board with us from an input-output standpoint. So we're going to be able to bring a stronger package in that will facilitate risk management, the doctor from a dashboard standpoint that gives him everything that he needs to look right onto one screen instead of having to collaborate across the room and look at different medical devices. So that's where we have a leg up in that stand. And then also our entry point as well for implementations quicker. It's smaller profile. We can add more cameras quickly on the fly. So those are the major differences.
And just to add to that, 3 of the hospitals we're talking about the risk management for OB-GYN, they have Stryker systems in the hospitals, but they're more interested in what we're coming to present to them, and I feel we'll have some positive response.
Next question. Will the Halo be purchased or licensed by a prospective client? That's also from Mike Andrews.
Both. Both is for purchase, and then there's also lease and financing options. And in the litigation arena, we are also exploring right now, like with the mass tort, for example, to pay per click. So it would be treated as a video deposition so we can capture that revenue on the attorney side as well.
I'm glad to hear the Halo website has been being updated. Does the management team have a plan to revamp the SPIN website? What's the status of FDA approval of Halo? I'll stop right there because we have more parts to that question.
The SPIN website is it's under change right now, and it's going to be brought up to speed, period. We're not happy with it, and it's going to be improved pronto.
Second part of the question, what is the status of FDA approval of Halo?
We are currently...
The FDA has come out with new regulations dealing with audio-visual and apps. And they're taking a totally different approach with things like what we're doing. With all the new apps coming out, they're now modifying some of their regulations. So right now, our primary focus is electromagnetic approval, that's like the UL, and the CE. We can sell these with the electromagnetic testing stamp and the CE stamp. As we add more specific new parts to the Halo, we would then proceed at that point with FDA. Everything we're building right now is all this electromagnetic testing, all the construction and manufacture, that's all part of the FDA process.
Right, and so the baseline, what we're going for right now is the UL side of it for our baseline approval with that and the CE mark. Because it is not a medical device that the doctor makes the decisions from, the current Halo and that we're getting approved for does not require full-blown FDA. Now, the stuff that we are implementing with the new features to take into the hospitals to the higher level, you know, the Halo 4000 and beyond, will require FDA approval because it is a medical device that the doctors will be using to make decisions from. But the main thing that we're focused right now is to cover ourselves from a liability standpoint and getting that UL CE mark and get some traction on the ground and get these units sold.
Okay, next question. If all goes well, how many Halos could be in the market by the end of calendar 2015?
I'd say 30.
And the price they would sell for?
Base price is $65,000.
Can you comment on the use of the Halo by medical device companies as part of the operation of their business? Can you comment on the use of the Halo by medical device companies as part of the operations of their business?
Oh, I think there is an opportunity here. If I'm a medical device company with a new type of instrument to use for surgery or a procedure, would this be helpful? Absolutely. Now, we're being approached by cadaver labs, and cadaver labs are used by companies with new devices and existing devices to teach doctors new procedures. Do I feel that the Halo will be involved with this? Yes. Have we had discussions with people? Yes. It's ideal for companies with new products or new technology and modifications on old technology with new procedures and so forth. So I think there's a very large market for this type of product use.
And to add to that, to give a real example that we use day in and day out is that we're using the C-arm, which is a medical device, and we're taking the feet out of it. So as these new devices come to the market, most of them already are internet ready, we'll say, or information delivery ready. And all that we have to do is plug into them and exchange the information, enriching both sides of the coin.
Okay. What distribution channels do you have open, and do you have any pre-orders already?
We have 2 pre-orders right now. Number 2, we're dealing directly in-house with some sales, and we're talking with a company in a related business that sells all over the world. So I think we'll have more information in the next 3 months dealing with these issues.
Next question. Mr. Cooper seems to have a lot of experience in these type of devices. Would he venture a guess as how he felt about the Halo in particular in the overall scheme of things?
Well, I have dealt with a lot of devices, and this one I'm really excited about the technology of it and the approach that David has taken. David's knowledge is far better in terms of the actual technology that's used in the marketplace. My expertise is in making it safe and be a device that we can get through the testing, as Dr. Donovan mentioned, the electromagnetic compatibility testing and the safety testing, so we can get those certifications we need. But no, I see it as, I'm just so impressed by the technology and the way we've been able to put this together. And then, so yeah, I'm excited about the project and the product. It looks great to me.
I'd like to add just a comment about Tommy. When we first met, Tommy graduated from the University of Houston, an electrical engineer. And he got into this business of medical equipment many years ago through Dr. DeBakey here in Houston. And he designed a bunch of medical pieces of equipment for Dr. DeBakey in the cardiovascular region. Tommy's known by everybody in Houston, and it's someone who has seen everything over the last 30 years. And we are so excited that he's working with us with this project. And we keep tapping his brain for new ideas and extensions of what we're doing. So it's a wonderful relationship. Tommy is here in Friendswood, which is just south of Houston, and he's a really smart guy. So it's been wonderful. But he's been involved in the labs and in surgery for many, many, many years, especially in the cardiovascular arena.
Is there a subscription fee on top of the base Halo price? I assume they mean a cloud storage fee or something like that.
Yes, that is correct. There is a maintenance side of it, depending on the bells and whistles that you want on there for the features, like remote live viewing. There is maintenance that's tied to that. So yes, there is a subscription based with that. So there are add-on services.
And a follow-up question from the same individual. My question is, why does management consistently state the business model is working? If it apparently it does, you guys has put up one bad quarter after another since I become a shareholder. My fear is that the same will happen with the Halo, unfortunately.
Well, we've had some bumps in the road. But in Q4, if you can collect almost $1.2 million and 6 of your facilities have been closed for a year, that to me means that the business model still works. With an accelerated and better Halo, we're getting a lot of attention by practices both inside Texas and outside Texas. Hopefully we've cleared these hurdles, but it's been frustrating for us here in the company. But I think we're more excited now than ever. And we're not pleased with these quarters, but we have better quality AR now than we did in the past. And we're getting I think, a better quality of people we're dealing with.
Any further questions? Going once. Going twice. I want to just add one last thing to that business model. We have collected $11 million in total since the beginning of this, and the initial money that was put up, that cash all total was less than $3 million. So maybe we've had some problems in late execution because of unforeseen events, but I'd have to say that any business model that you can put up in 4.5 years and quadruple your cash that you put up is a business model that works. Just my 2 cents.
I just want to thank, obviously we're closing up now, I just want to thank everybody for taking time and listening to what we're doing. And I truly feel I'm excited about 2015. We have some great opportunities, we have a good team put together, and we have some wonderful products. And I think we're going to find that Halo is going to be used much beyond just what we initially thought it was going to be used. The hospitals are really getting interested in what we're doing. So I appreciate everybody's time and thank you.
Thank you.